Hey, let's think for a minute. Why do you need to make a homeschool transcript? Well, there's car insurance. You want the good student discount. There's because you have a college bound student, but maybe you have a not college bound student and they've ever changed their mind really about anything they wanted to do in the future. Maybe you need or want scholarships. Maybe your plan is dual enrollment or going into the military, or maybe you are a home educating parent that's homeschooling high school and your family is counting on you. That's a good reason to make a transcript. So, Spring Into Transcripts with me today. My name is Lee Benz, and I'm going to be teaching on transcripts today. My class has a fantastic workbook. Make sure you download that workbook, and you'll be able to save all of the information that we talk about today. So why don't you just sit back with me and we will have fun with our friends today. If you could chime in and say where you're joining me from, that would be fantastic. Again, my name's Lee Benz and I live in the Seattle area, Seattle, Washington. Hi, Christine in Connecticut, and oh, Kim in Florida. Oh, we've got lots of people here today. It's going too fast. I can't hardly keep up. Roompa, Charlotte. That's interesting. Virginia, Puyallup. You know I'm from Washington when you can say Puyallup correctly. Nevada, South Dakota, Colorado. This is fantastic. We're going to have a blast today. So listen, once you've printed off the workbook, again, the workbook looks like this. And then make sure you turn off your phone so that we can pay attention today. And before we get started, I want to give everybody a free gift just to say thank you for being here. Okay, so you download this free book. It's called How to Put Fabulous Fun on Your Homeschool Transcript and Convert Natural Learning into High School Credit. You will love this book. So if you have any questions at all remaining about transcripts, this is going to help you, this book here. So if you on your workbook, again, on your workbook, just write down tinyurl/fabulous fun. And then after class, we'll be able to download that book. Hi, Bianca from Miami. Good to see you. Kat from Michigan and Becky in Georgetown, Texas. Great. Well, listen, I hope you have your workbook ready because it's time for us to get started and spring into transcripts together. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lee Benz. I homeschooled my own two children from third grade all the way through high school graduation. My children had a homemade transcript. They had mommy grades. They had kitchen credits. And even so, my children earned full tuition scholarships to their first choice Christian university. And I know that other people have gotten even more scholarships than my kids. So, welcome to my class. This class is going to help you spring into transcripts, not shy away from it. You know that you need this class because you need a transcript, or maybe you think you need a transcript, or at some point somebody mentioned transcripts, or you need a refresher course on transcripts, or you need a nudge or swift kick to get your transcript done, or you're pretty sure that at some point your child may change their mind. For all of these reasons, you want to make a homeschool transcript. Welcome to Rachel in New York and Angela in Utah and Carrie in Edwardsburg, Michigan. Now, at the end of this workshop, I am going to give a special offer for the Total Transcript Solution. It will help you to create your transcript by the end of the day today. The Total Transcript Solution will help you to create professional homeschool transcripts. It's low tech, low stress for parents, and colleges love it and will reward you with scholarships when you have excellent homeschool records. But I'm also going to be spending a ton of time answering your questions at the end. So if anything that I say confuses you, or if you have a unique situation and you want to get specific questions answered, all you have to do is write those down. And at the end of class, you'll have an opportunity to ask me. All right. And plus, it's just going to be fun. We are going to learn so much together, and it's just fun to chat with one another. All right. When I give that offer, I am going to be giving an exclusive workshop bonus that includes a high school mini conference, which has a $60 value. And so this is going to go a long way to helping you feel confident as you move forward into the high school years. All right, here's what you're going to learn today. You're going to talk about the necessity of making homeschool transcripts, even if you think you might not need one, how to determine high school credit, how to determine what is high school level. We'll talk about grading options. I'll give you my favorite. We'll talk about how to grade without using a test. We will talk about the common traps and pitfalls and how to avoid them. We'll talk about the transcript options that are available to you, and we'll have plenty of time for questions at the end. Now, Mandy took my class and she thought it was phenomenal. She gained confidence. She learned how to make a transcript that honored her unique student. And she also had fun learning. And she said it was organized and humor filled, which I think is like the sweet spot for taking an online class. So I know that this investment of your time is going to be worth it to you today. And I want to say it's nice to meet you. If you haven't met me before, I suppose I should introduce myself just a little bit. My children are Kevin and Alex. They are now grown adults. My husband runs the business and the website. My staff runs the office for me. And that gives me the opportunity to talk with parents like you. And my mission is to help parents homeschool high school. So let me explain just a few things that are interesting about my homeschool, just so you know what I'm like. I did homeschool independently, which is why I've written a book on how to homeschool independently. I think that independent learning is the best way to encourage passionate learners, and that you can avoid assembly line education, use a pace that fits your child, that's consistent with your values. And so when I was homeschooling, I did not use accreditation or parent partnerships or alt ed or government funding or homeschool co-ops. I do consult with parents who homeschool in a variety of ways. I just wanted you to know how I did it. Okay. Now, for those of you who are just joining me, I wanted to give you a free gift just to say thank you for being here. So, in your workbook, I hope you have your workbook, write down tinyurl.com/fabulous fun. And that way you can download that book after class, and it will go a long way to helping you understand. This is, again, just a special thank you gift for sharing your time with me today, because I think it's so fun to be together, and it's much better when we're all here together sharing info on chat. Now, I started homeschooling when my boys were in third and fifth grade, and this is what they looked at like at their high school graduation. Kevin's on the left, Alex is on the right. It's funny looking back, I feel like kids are kind of goofy looking at that age, and they look so much older now. But again, we gave them a mommy made transcript. It was an official transcript, but it was not accredited. We purchased a diploma online from homeschooldiploma.com. My two boys were admitted to every college where they applied. They received full tuition scholarships that saved our family $184,000. But as I mentioned, some people have gotten much, much more. Now, there are three things that I believe about homeschooling. Tell me if any of these resonate with you. First, homeschooling provides the best possible learning environment. What do you think? Does that get an amen? Number two, that every child deserves a college prep education, whether they choose to go to college or not. And number three, parents are capable of providing a superior education for their children. But it did make me think, what is the big deal about grades and credits? Why was I going to all this effort? Well, it's interesting. In my homeschool, I only used tests in about half of our classes. Okay. So in math, science, foreign language, that's where I used most tests. And about half of my transcript had grades without tests. So let me ask you a question. What percentage of your homeschool classes do not use tests? Okay, do not use tests. So I'm making this transcript without using tests, and the college says your transcript and records were the best organized and documented I've seen. My own son felt differently. My own son said that my grades were bogus. I know that because Kevin said, and I quote, "Mom, your grades are bogus." I teased him about this just the other day, and his wife said, "Kevin, did you really say that?" And Kevin said, "It sounds like me." so um, so here's the thing: transcripts are the love language of colleges. My love language is chocolate and coffee. Just so you know, if you ever wanted to get me a gift, the answer is chocolate and coffee. But transcripts are the love languages of colleges. So here's what I want you to write down to begin with. Okay, this goes in your workbook. This is the first underlined section. The love language of colleges is numbers. Okay, what kind of numbers? Number one, grade numbers. Number two, credit numbers. And the funny thing is, these things don't really matter to us. We could care less. We care that our children learn. We care that they make progress. They care about numbers. That's fine. We're just going to translate our normal natural homeschool experience into the love language of colleges. So here's a very important thing that I want you to write down in your workbook. Okay? Write this down. This is the most important thing you're going to learn today. Do not change your normal, natural homeschool. Instead, don't become a test making machine. Instead, speak their love language. Okay, so write this down. Do not change my homeschool, right? If something is working, you don't change it. You only make a change to your homeschool if it's not working. Okay, now we're going to start by talking about high school credits. Um, High school credits are sort of like swimming. When you think about credits, I want you to think about swimmers. Swimmers are measured when they race by distance, stroke, and time. Okay, like the 100-meter freestyle, so many minutes. That's basically what a high school credit is like. Okay. A high school credit is a measurement of how long and how hard the student worked. Now, usually in most states, one whole high school class is 1 credit, but occasionally, I think it's Indiana, it's 2 credits. In some states, it will be 10, right? But I'm going to use one as one whole high school year, just to talk as the whole group. Now, a credit is a measurement of how long and how hard the student works, but there's actually 4 different ways to determine high school credit. And I'm going to go through these all 4 ways, nice and slow. You're not going to miss anything because I don't want you to cheat your student out of anything. Number one, you can give high school credit based on high school level work at any age. Now, when I was doing my research on this, I found that the experts really didn't agree on much, but they all agreed on this one thing. If they were doing high school level work, you should give it to them. Okay, this is especially helpful for gifted children. So, for example, Rupa just shared, what about an intensive Latin summer class? Okay, that sounds like it's high school level. If it's a high school level curriculum, you would give your child high school credit for that, whether they were a 7th grader or a 10th grader, okay, at any age. So again, this is helpful for gifted children. Now, how do you know it's high school level? It's because somebody will tell you. So with Rupa, for example, they will say this is a high school level Latin summer intensive. Or a textbook will tell you, like Saxon, or a catalog, or a class, or a teacher, or an accreditation agency will tell you that it's high school level. There are 3 common examples to early high school credits. Number 1 is math using Algebra 1 and higher. Number 2 is science when it's high school biology or more advanced. And number 3 is foreign language when you've used a high school curriculum or class like Rupa did. Now, very rarely will other classes be early high school credits, but sometimes, like if they're taking a class that's only for high schoolers, or they take a class that's a dual enrollment college class, or frankly, sometimes you just know best because your child is working at a graduate level in economics or something crazy. Okay. But this does point out why it's important to begin your record keeping early, and why I believe that parents of sixth, seventh, and eighth graders really need to be learning about high school transcripts. All right, number two, you can give high school credit based on the number of hours worked at high school age. Now, we talked earlier about why it was so helpful with gifted kids. This is what's so helpful for kids that are remedial or below grade level in one area or maybe multiple areas. So there's three things I want you to think about this, right? Hours worked at high school age. If they're in high school, all work counts, even if they are below grade level. If they were in public school, they would count seat time. They would be given the appropriate level classes. They might fail, but they would be given high school credit. Number two, you don't have to count hours for everything that they do. It's far easier to count textbooks than hours. One textbook, one class, right? But hours is a little bit more complicated. And so, number three, my third tip is that you can actually estimate rather than calculate hours, right? So you only have to count hours when you don't have a curriculum, you don't take a class, nobody else has measured the credit for you. So, maybe it is boils down to just art and music and PE, that sort of thing. All right. So let's talk about how do you count hours when the student is at high school age. Now, the experts completely disagree on how many hours actually make up a credit. One expert would say 120 hours, each hour is 20 minutes because homeschoolers can get it done in 20 minutes when it takes an hour in public school. Another expert would say it's 150 hours. Each hour is 50 minutes because that's what they do in school, which is a silly reason. Another expert would say, no, it's 180 hours, and each hour is 60 minutes long. The rationale being an hour is, in fact, 60 minutes long. Some experts would say it's 180 hours, but you can't count homework, which I thought was particularly ridiculous because we homeschool, so it is all homework. Now, it doesn't matter what the experts say. There is a simple formula for you to calculate your credits. Simple. All you have to do is write this down. If your child has worked for between 120 and 180 hours, give them one credit. If they have worked between 60 to 90 hours, give them a half a credit or a semester amount of work. It's as easy as that. But like I say, you don't have to actually count hours using 5-minute intervals. I've seen people do that, completely unnecessary. You can estimate, don't calculate. How do you estimate? Let me explain. One high school credit means your child has worked for 1 hour per day. You see, it's one-to-one correspondence. 1 hour a day, one whole year of high school. So if they did 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, most of the school year, they get one credit. Now, suppose they did that all week, that would be 5 hours per week. So if your child worked for 5 hours per week, most of the school year, that is going to be one high school credit. So let's take half of that to calculate and estimate a half a credit. If your child has worked 30 minutes a day, most of the school year, that's going to be a half a credit. Or if your child worked 2 to 3 hours per week, most of the school year, then that's going to be a half a credit. Let me give you an example from my own life. My children were told to choose their apologetics book from this one bookshelf we had in our home. I expected them to read for 2 to 3 hours it was about 2 hours every Friday from these books on the bookshelf. We added that to our church and youth group activities. I knew that they had 2 to 3 hours per week of biblical instruction. And so every year of high school, they got 1/2 credit for Bible. So that's how it worked in the real life for me. Now, don't forget, it's far, far easier to count textbooks first. One math textbook, 1 credit. You don't have to measure classes by feet and meters, right? So you don't measure both books and hours. You count textbooks first. You only measure hours if necessary. And when you're measuring hours, you estimate instead of calculating in 5-minute intervals. One thing is that if the student is working on a textbook that says it's a semester class, some economics, some American government, logic, for example, we'll say it's a semester class, then you would give 1/2 credit for that. Yep. Yes, Phyllis, I am all about the practical experiences. Okay, moving on to number 3. You can give high school credit based on college level work at any age. Now, for those of you with younger children, 7th or 8th grader, you probably are totally freaked out right now. But it is actually possible for a normal child to do college level work, especially if they like a subject or if they're innately pretty good at it. So let me give you some examples so you know that you don't have to freak out about this. What is college level? It means a community college class or dual enrollment. Sometimes it's called running start in some states, or early start. It could be by credit by examination. For example, a CLEP test, an AP course, an AP test. So if you do have a younger student, maybe you've heard of some of these things, and then you'll feel a little bit more comfortable knowing that, occasionally it will happen. A normal student will get college level classes even when they're in high school, even when they're just a normal kid. All right, number 4, the fourth way to determine credit is based on demonstrated expertise. This is harder to quantify, I know. It means that your child has visibly proven their expertise in a subject. So maybe because a college professor has told you that your student is doing graduate level economics work. Don't ask me how I would think of that. Maybe your child was published in an adult level magazine or paper. Don't ask me how I would know that. Maybe your child has held an adult position or job in the field. I know quite a few young people now that have worked as a dental assistant. Maybe your student is a winner in a high school or adult level contest, or has a black belt in something, even though they're younger. Okay, so now we're ready to move on to the other numbers that colleges love. We're going to talk about high school grades. Now, remember, I'm not one who used a lot of tests, so this section is not going to increase your workload. I promise. Nothing scary is going to happen. I'm only going to make your life easier. Ready? We're talking about grades now. Remember when I said credits, I wanted you to think about swimming, just a measurement of how long and how hard the student worked. With grades, I want you to think about piano. Okay, now here's a question everybody needs to answer. If you have ever had your kids take piano lessons, or you've given piano lessons, or your children have taken piano lessons, let me ask a question. Did the piano teacher ever use a fill in the bubble test? Yes or no? This is not a music theory class. I'm asking you about piano lessons. Did a piano lesson ever use a fill in the bubble test? Everybody's going, no, 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 of course not. Okay, so then let's think, how does a piano teacher evaluate students? They do evaluate all the time. So if you're a piano teacher, I need you to chime in and tell me, how do you evaluate? My student took piano, and I'll tell you, it's about hand position. It's they're listening to hear the notes that are played. They're watching their eyes. Exactly. Improvement, said Kristen. They're watching their eyes. Are they reading the music? Do they play with musicality? Do they seem to enjoy it? Have they obviously been practicing? These are how you evaluate piano. And that is also how you can evaluate classes that do not have tests. Okay, now we've talked about tests before, and here's what I need you to understand. All right, tests are optional. Like a piano teacher, you don't have to test to evaluate. Now, evaluating is not optional. We do it all the time, just naturally. I was saying, my home, this is true confession time. My evaluation closely resembled nagging. Like, will you get that done? Are you ever going to get that done? Will you turn that in now? That sort of thing. So when you're evaluating, you're thinking about, okay, what they did, their assignments, or maybe what they know because you've had a discussion or you've seen them perform their piano, for example. Or what did they do with their knowledge? They wrote a paper, or they gave a project, they gave a performance. So then you're focusing on learning, which is helpful. Let's talk about English for a moment. It does not help a child to put a grade on an English paper. It does help a child for you to circle what needs to be improved and then they improve it. That's how they get better. So when we focus on learning, not correcting or grading, then our children can actually learn more by that. Okay. All right, now this is really important. Okay. It is a disservice to give a grade based only on tests. And that's because students in schools are being evaluated in many ways. I have never seen a teacher that gave more than 50% of the grade based on tests. It's always other things too: class participation, showing up on time, having a good attitude. No kidding, they give a grade for attitude. We give a grade for attitude too. Projects, oral presentations. So it is a disservice to your child to only use a test for a grade. A test measures what students do not know. There might be 100 questions. And if your child didn't know those 100 things, that doesn't mean they didn't know another 100 different things that weren't on the test. Okay. So if they have met your expectations, then you can give an A. If you use mastery, if you expect your child to learn before moving on, that's what an A is. So let's go over the different ways to grade. I know you're feeling a little stressed out. I know that there are some subjects where we do use tests, and that's fine. But I want you to know that you can evaluate in many different ways. I'm actually good buddies with Andrew Pudewa, the Institute for Excellence of Writing, and we've talked about grading multiple times together. And he's so funny. This is how he recommends grading. Okay, Andrew Pudewa, Institute for Excellence in Writing. He says A means acceptable. He says B means could be better. He means a C. He says that means, oh, come on, try again. I thought that was hilarious. Also, completely accurate, right? But I know that this is a serious topic, so I want to give you concrete, absolute formulas to calculate each and every grade because humor only gets us so far. These are absolute concrete formulas. I hope you are ready. Okay, you want to write this down. An A. An A means mastery. Your child has met your high expectations. They have high standardized test scores, or they love the subject, or generally speaking, you're not too annoyed with what they did. Okay. If any one of those is true, that's when they get a grade of A. By the way, it's meet your high expectations. You're not asking them to do more than you could hope for or ever expect, right? That's that only the Lord can do that, not our children. So they only have to meet our high expectations. Okay, ready to write down grade of B. A grade of B means pretty good, but you're certain it is not worth an A, or the parent is somewhat annoyed. Now, occasionally this will happen when you're trying multiple curriculum, it's just not working, your child just isn't able to learn in the way that you've taught it. And occasionally it happens when, there's a little bit of the interpersonal issues with the students. So, for example, my son, Kevin, who is an engineer now and did survive this experience, he one time thought it would be really cute if he did his biology lab report in yellow pencil on white paper. I was somewhat annoyed. So I checked this grading rubric here and I determined that being somewhat annoyed, it didn't matter that it was perfectly done. It mattered that I was somewhat annoyed, and he got an 80% on that assignment. Okay. In fact, it's still there in my permanent record for my son, Kevin. All right, let's talk about a grade of C. A grade of C means it was not good at all. It was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad class. Both the student and the parent are annoyed and disappointed. Here's how you know it's a C and not below a C. It's because you kept going the next year. So, for example, not that this would ever happen to a homeschooler. Let's suppose Algebra 1 was a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad math, but you said, we're going to do math next year. And you kept going in math. And the next year you did geometry the following year. That's how you know it was a grade of C. Okay? Assuming you did not use tests. All right. Now, a grade of D or below is not a good strategy, right? We are not setting our children up for failure. We're setting our children up to learn. This is why I like parents to homeschool independently, so that they have the flexibility. If your child starts to get a bad grade in class, in school, you can only drop or replace that class. But when you're homeschooling, you have other options. If your child is getting a D early on, you can change the curriculum. You can skip the subject. You can address their attitude. You don't have to fail your children when you're homeschooling. I mean, you can. It's an option, but you don't have to. Okay. All right. So now I want to explain one more thing about grades. All right. One more thing is that the final grade that you put on the transcript is a summary of all methods of evaluation. It's like making a smoothie or a frappuccino. Okay. A frappuccino or a smoothie is a summary of all ingredients. You take all the ingredients, you put it on in the blender, you hit frappe, and what comes out is the final grade. So the same thing is true for you, like a piano teacher, right? I'm looking with my eyes. Are they watching their music? I'm listening with my ears. I'm watching their hand placement. I'm evaluating whether they can play without the music. I take all of those methods of evaluation, make a smoothie out of it, and what comes out is the final grade. All right, now in this next section, there's a little bit more numbers involved. So I know you're probably going to need chocolate to see your life through this one, okay? Again, I am not going to make your life harder. I'm going to make your life easier. If you go to page 3 in the workbook, you will see I've already written in all the numbers. You don't even have to write in all the numbers, okay? Lots of options. There are lots of grading scales, just like there's lots of chocolates in a box of chocolates, right? All of them are yummy, even if it's not your favorite, but you get to choose your favorite, just like you do from a box of chocolates. All right, let's talk about the different grading scale options. Option number 1. By the way, if we have any teachers in the audience, if you can tell me when I get to the option that you used in school, even if it's all of them, you can chime in each time. Option one, 97 to 100% is an A plus, 93 to 96% is an A, 90 to 92% is an A minus, 87 to 89% is a B plus. Thank you, Kat and Christine, for chiming in. This is what they used at school. I will say for me, way too complicated. I started crying when I was looking at this. Look at this, there's pluses and minuses. What is the deal with that? Could I, A minus, A plus? I couldn't possibly. It was way too much for me. Okay. But this is a perfectly acceptable method of evaluating your children. I mean, look, Angela and Kat and Catherine had recommended this. It can work. It can work for you. If you love it, great. It's your chocolate. You use it. Option number two. A, 4.0. B, 3.0. C, 2.0. D, 1.0. Any teachers in the audience using, yep, Carrie's been using this. Okay, so my problem with this option was that there were math, science, and foreign language where I used tests. And if the test said 87%, I wanted to know whether 87% was an A or a B or a C. Jennifer says this is what she uses in college all the time. Okay, now let's move on to number three. So for me, this was too simple. The first one was too hard. This one was too simple for me. But if you like it, it's your chocolate. You get to choose. Option number three. 93 to 100% is an A, 85 to 92% is a B, 75 to 84% is a C, 70 to 74% is a D. And I'm thinking, what happened to round numbers? Oh my word, are you kidding me? Why would you break off at 84 or 92? It seemed to me, I look at this grading scale and I think, okay, they've pulled numbers out of thin air for no reason. Okay. Jessica's saying, this is what I use when I went to school, but I don't use it for my children. Amen. Amen. Okay. So this is, again, common, perfectly acceptable. If you want to, if this is your chocolate and you like it, you can use this chocolate. All right. Now we're going to go to option number 4. This is the one with coconut in the middle, the one that I really like. Option 4, my personal favorite. 90 to 100% is an A, 80 to 89% is a B, 70 to 79% is a C, 60 to 69% is a D. I loved it. My Goldilocks and the Three Bears moment, because I didn't have to memorize anything, right? Everything in the 90s is an A, everything in the 80s is a B, everything in the 70s is a C. So I didn't have to memorize anything. It told me what my tests meant, but it didn't make me feel like it was so precise that when I didn't have a test, I was somehow inaccurate. So this is the grading scale that I chose for myself. All right. Now, how do you choose? I recommend that you choose one of these 4 options. How do you choose? You have 3 ways to choose. Number 1, go with your gut. Okay. People say, oh, I want to use this one. And people have been chatting in and saying, I like this one. I use this one. Okay. Number 2, you can choose my favorite. I've already confessed my favorite is option 4. Okay. Number 3, you could use the grading scale dartboard game. Go to page 5 of your workbook and you will see a bullseye like this one here. Okay. If what you do is you print off this one page, you tape it to your kitchen wall, make spaghetti meatballs for dinner, throw a meatball at the dartboard. Okay. If the meatball leaves a mark inside of the blue, you use option A. Inside of the yellow, you use option B. Inside of the green, you use option C. And anywhere around the kitchen other than that, right? That's when you use option D. Easy peasy done. Okay. So we can choose the grading scale that works for us. So Here's what I need you to do. Everybody, right now, circle the option 1, 2, or 3 that you are planning on using. Okay. If you are not, if you can't decide, right, use the dartboard game. That will tell you the grading scale that the Lord would prefer that you used, right? And you can write that one down. Good. All right. Now, a couple of things you need to understand about transcripts is that parents really do know best when it comes to grading. And there are going to be times when you do need to have a grade that's lower than an A. But it's also possible that you might have all A's. Let's say, for example, you're a mean mom. If you're a mean mom, if you make your children do all the problems in the book, if you make them get a certain percentage before moving on, these are all classic signs of requiring a grade of A across the board. Okay. There are no other schools where students are required to get an A before moving on. The only place that can happen is in homeschooling, where we have that one-to-one interaction, right? Now, I want you just to be honest and true with your grades. If it's lower than an A, that just shows that you have thoughtfully considered all of your grades. If you have all A's, most colleges are very comfortable with homeschoolers who have high requirements for their children, and they understand that that can happen. There are many right ways to homeschool high school. Colleges understand that there are different methods. Colleges actually have to assess kids from unaccredited public schools. That may be surprising. Did you know that there are unaccredited public high schools? It's true. Many unaccredited private high schools as well. And so colleges have to evaluate students that go to an unaccredited high school all the time. And we are just one of them. So when we are unaccredited, we just fit right in with all the other unaccredited high schools across the country. So the possibilities are endless. So let's talk about what might keep you up. What would worry you then? So, what I'd like for you to do right now is to type in just in 1 or 2 words what worries you about the transcript. Maybe it's that it's stressful or grades and credits. I'll tell you one situation that has kept me up at night. I went to help a mom named Paula make her transcripts, and she invited me to her house, and she said she was a binder queen. She said she had lots and lots of homeschool records, but when I got there, her binder, which she was a queen of, was completely empty. She did have a box of keepsakes in her schoolroom, and so we went through every piece together and pieced together the transcript together. She was very happy. She thought it looked fantastic. And as I was leaving, I happened to ask her, thank goodness, what she was doing that weekend. And she said that she was going to a Latin competition with her daughter. Thank goodness she had mentioned that, because there was no mention of Latin in her binder. There was no mention of Latin in her box of keepsakes. Latin never made it onto her high school transcript. She had completely forgotten 4 years of high school Latin, even though she was so good that she was in a competition for it. So, yes, this is why it's important to make a transcript. Okay. In fact, let me go over 5 reasons why it's important to make a high school transcript. This does go pretty quickly. We're on the bottom of page 3. So make sure that you write this down. Okay. It goes a little fast. Number 1, because your homeschool transcript will perfectly reflect your student, all of their education, all in one place. Number 2, your homeschool transcript will demonstrate your students' unique gifts, what is special about them that their friends don't have, so that they stand out and get scholarships. Number 3, your homeschool transcript can include delight directed learning that didn't use a textbook, things that make your student happy, that bring them joy, that make the school year shorter, that make your job easier. Number 4, your homeschool transcript can emphasize successes and does not emphasize failures. Because on your transcript, there is no eye rolling or sass or bad attitude, it's just achievement. Number 5, your homeschool transcript will provide the numbers that colleges and employers need to get the best possible job and scholarships for your children. And the result means your child is not some sort of cookie cutter. They're completely unique. You can document all sorts of educational experiences, both the traditional and non traditional. And your transcript can be more customized, personal, informative, balanced. And yet at the same time, it can help colleges see your student as an individual, not just a number like a GPA. Now, I want to talk for a moment about what can go wrong because everybody was sharing what they're afraid of with the transcript, and I understand that. But let me give you the 3 most common pitfalls and how you can avoid it. And I think it was going pretty fast a minute ago when people were sharing their feelings, but I think I've got all of those concerns handled in these 3 common pitfalls. All right. Pitfall number 1 is when the grades on the transcript don't match your students' test scores. Somebody was mentioning SAT tests, etc. You see, here's the thing. Your grade on the transcripts needs to be reflected somehow. For example, when you see this picture, you see the things that are real, the trees, the people, the grass, the sky. And then you see a reflection in the water, a reflection of the trees and the grass and the sky. So on a transcript, usually something will reflect the real learning of the student. Okay. So, for example, in a public or private high school, the most common thing to reflect grades are test scores, SAT, ACT. But you can provide a solution outside tests, other outside documentation. So, for example, a letter of recommendation from a job or dual enrollment, or course descriptions describing the rigor of your school so that they knew what was in the class, so that they knew your grade was based on something. With a kid that's a poor test taker, I encourage you to look for other ways to reflect grades, especially course descriptions can be very helpful. The second pitfall is when you're trying so hard to make your transcript look, I don't know, official, normal, that you've made your student appear one dimensional on paper, a stick figure. Now, my husband usually will helpfully point out that one dimension means a line and that these are actually two-dimensional features here, people. But, you know, I'm just a nurse. I don't know about one-dimensional, two-dimensional. So the solution here is to create a transcript that is unique to your homeschooler. Okay. Don't try to work it to death, making it so one dimensional that they don't look unique at all. So, how do you do that? A lot of it boils down to choosing the right course titles. Class titles and delight directed learning are a great way to make your transcript more unique. All right. The third pitfall is if you're missing large chunks of information. Like, for example, my friend Paula, who is missing 4 entire years of high school Latin. Okay. The solution here is that you make your transcript every year of high school. This is why I suggest that parents with a 6th, 7th, or 8th grader are learning how to make a transcript now. If you have a high school student, now is the time to make your transcript, because what happens is we get overwhelmed by the blank white page. Like our students, when we say, I want you to write an essay on whatever, and they say, oh, I can't possibly do it. And you say, oh, you're just looking at the blank white page. Just get started and you'll be fine. Well, the same thing is true for your transcript. If you just will get started, you'll be fine. The solution is to make your transcript every year without fail. Now, let me get a quick little bit of feedback to make sure we're all on the same page. Has this workshop been helpful for you? Because I know we've been doing a lot of chatting and I didn't want to miss anybody. So, if you could just type in yes or no, have you enjoyed this content? Was it helpful? Are you feeling better about things now? Because in just a second, I'm going to talk about our transcript options. But I wanted to know, first of all, are you okay? Just checking in, right? Oh, good. I'm glad. Yes. Answer my question. Answer my question. That's good. But I do want you to know while everybody's answering, you really can homeschool high school. You really are capable. You can do it without the help of professional educators or government classes or accreditation. And I'm going to be right here with you. You don't have to change what's been working all along. Okay. All right. So let me talk about then what are your transcript options? Okay. Believe me, I have looked at all of these. Number one, software. The problem I found with software is that it requires brainware, right? Like you can download some program to your computer, but how do you know what to type? How do you know what a good grade is? How do you know how to calculate grades? Number two, you could try alternative education, but that actually puts your homeschool in a straitjacket. And as soon as you get booked into those, it increases your stress level. Number three, you could try accreditation. But here's the thing with accreditation, you get accredited based on strict rules and requirements, which means that if you sign up for an accredited high school experience, it will, in fact, increase your record keeping requirements. So, for parents that are nervous about creating a one-page transcript, accreditation might mean you're creating 30 pages of documentation every year. Number four, the total transcript solution. And that's my solution to help you create your own homeschool transcript simply and easily without being boxed in. The total transcript solution is the fastest, simplest way to create a professional transcript that will amaze and impress colleges. You get the total transcript solution, and you can create a homeschool transcript that colleges will love and believe. Your mommy credits, your mommy grades, they can outperform any other school, and you can create a high school transcript at home by the end of today. With the total transcript solution, you get complete training and tools so that you can learn all of the tricks and tips to prepare your homeschool transcript and give your children a competitive advantage over the other applicants. It has a scholarship winning template. You can get all of the 10 templates, but there is one that gets the best scholarships. There's also some that are specific for NCAA students that are going into sports. Best of all, it comes with private review and coaching so that parents like you can get any remaining questions answered by me. And I can help you in a 20-minute private coaching consultation. You can get that by phone or by email one time with your purchase. So when you get the total transcript solution, you get lifetime access to this product that is continually updated, always being improved. You can use it with all of your children and know that it's always up to date. And it comes with a been there, done that real homeschool mom 30-day money back guarantee. The total transcript solution has 4 easy steps. Step one is recorded video training, get you up and running quickly. Step two is a book that explains all the details. Step three is the transcript template collection. The first one in the collection is the one that gives the best scholarships. The NCAA transcript template is clearly labeled NCAA. Number four, the personal coaching session. You can email me your transcript if you want to. You don't have to. And then we'll be able to go over it together, either by email or by phone number. Now, the total transcript solution has 5 big benefits. Number one, you're doing it yourself using the tools and, frankly, teenagers that you have lying around the house. Number two, it will perfectly present your homeschool to colleges. Number three, it will accurately describe your child to college or career. Number four, it will impress the colleges and thereby giving you more money, right? Number five, it will save money and hassles over the other options that are out there. And it could even make life more fun. One person that was taking this class, her name was Anne, she said, "Oh, your classes in the total transcript solution have made folding laundry so much more fun." Folding laundry, fun. Who knew that was a thing? Anyway, she said she takes my classes on her laptop while folding. I thought that was pretty cute. Now, with your purchase of the total transcript solution, we have everyday value bonuses that are included with your purchase. Bonus one is the testing pack to help you maximize your child's performance on the SAT, ACT, AP, and CLEP. Bonus number two is the resource pack with planning guides, grading criteria, a year by year calendar, helping you to kind of think outside the box a little bit. Bonus three is the savings pack, resources to help you save money. My goal with that is to defray the cost of the total transcript solution. Bonus number four is the continuing education pack. And that's where you get free trial membership in the Silver Training Club for 30 days, free for 30 days. And then it's $27 a month, but you can cancel at any time. There's a simple one-click cancel. You can send us an email. I do encourage all parents to use that first month for free, because I do believe that continuing education is extremely important for home educators. That's how we get better. That's how we learn about the next stage of life coming up. That's how you transition from middle school into high school, by getting continuing education. So I do think it has tremendous value. And of course, you can cancel at any time. But we also have surprise bonuses that are included. Even people who are listening as a recording can get these added surprise bonuses. The first one is the emergency transcript help. That will help you to get your transcript done within an hour or two. All you have to do is promise that you'll order pizza for dinner, and it should be done by the time the evening is over. Number two is the keys to high school success, really helpful for parents with sixth, seventh, or eighth graders. Number three is getting the big scholarships. Number four is finding a college. Those two classes are extremely helpful if you have a 10th or 11th grader, because it's really giving you the information you need for junior year that's going to earn scholarships when you're a senior. Now, we also have an exclusive workshop bonus, and this is what I was telling you about at the beginning. This is the Homeschool High School Mini Conference. It includes conference workshops that I have filmed by going to conventions across the country. It includes record keeping, making the grades, Christian homeschool success, and options after high school. Those are going to help you to learn more about other topics beyond the transcript. Now, remember, there is no risk involved with the total transcript solution. We have a 30-day unconditional guarantee. But listen up, this is a digital product. Nothing is mailed to you. But that's why we can provide the guarantee. There's no restocking fee. You don't have to pay to ship it back, right? So you can get the total transcript solution and be confident with that 30-day money-back guarantee. Now, the total value of the total transcript solution is $459 if you added everything up that's included, but your investment is only $47. And you don't have to piece it together on your own. You can do it the easy way. The total transcript solution is perfect if you're a researcher and you want to do all of the resources included with the total transcript solution. But the total transcript solution is also perfect for someone who feels overwhelmed and can't quite cope. You just go to that emergency transcript section. You take the 1-hour transcript workshop. You'll be able to get it done quickly without doing all of that heavy lifting research that the other people seem to enjoy and overwhelms you. So with this one investment, you have for lifetime access. You can use it for all of your children. This is a whole family product. Now let me show you how to place the order. With the total transcript solution, when you get to the order form, you put in your billing and your credit card information. But I wanted you to look down here at the bottom where it suggests the comprehensive record solution. This is an option that you can add on if you think it would be helpful for you. So if you've not been creating course descriptions, I recommend that you add the comprehensive records solution. It will help you to create every other piece of paper that a homeschooler might need. It's not just the transcript after all. The comprehensive records solution will help you with course descriptions, activity list, reading list, school profile, letter of recommendation. It gives you much more than the total transcript solution with cut and paste course descriptions that you can paste into a document to send to colleges to get the best possible scholarships. So if you haven't started your course descriptions and you have a college-bound teenager especially, I encourage you to click add the comprehensive record solution, agree to the terms and conditions, and then complete your purchase here. There is an opportunity to get more help if you do have college-bound homeschoolers. You can also get an option to add the applying to college module of the college launch solution. This module can be added to your purchase for only $67, and it will help you to plan senior year of high school, record keeping to give your application, make it more appealing, information on how to interpret and fulfill college admission requirements, how to complete essays, how to track college applications, how to compare college costs so that you'll make the best decision and allow your child to graduate from college debt-free. So anyway, you can add this additional resource for $67. That's $20 off the regular price. Like all of my digital products, it has a 30-day money-back guarantee and lifetime access. Now, let me explain one more time what you will get with your purchase today. If you buy the total transcript solution, you'll get the everyday value bonuses on testing, resources, and savings. You'll get the Silver Training Club free for 30 days. It's $27 a month. You can cancel at any time. You'll get the 4 surprise bonus classes, the emergency transcript help, getting scholarships, keys to success, finding a college. You'll get the 4 workshop mini conference, and you get that consultation by phone or by email so that if you have follow-up questions after you've made your transcript, you and I can talk privately. All of that comes with a 30-day money-back guarantee and lifetime access. Now, I want you to go back to your workbook just for a moment. Towards the bottom of page 4, it says, "My commitment to take action." I need you to write these things down so that you're actually committed. Okay? I want you to write down, "I will make my transcript every year. I promise to update it every year." For bonus points, insert the month when you will promise to update it every year. You know, the transcript is going to be needed the very first day of senior year when you start your applications. You'll have to send in a mid-year transcript at the middle of senior year. You'll have to send in a final transcript at the end of senior year. So frankly, the more frequently you update your transcript throughout high school, the easier your life is going to be. Now, Claudia was very successful with her transcript. She said the counselor took our transcript out of the file, placed it on her desk, and said, "I have never seen such a transcript as this from a homeschooler." And they were able to allow her children to pursue their dreams. So listen, right now is the time for you to get your questions answered. And I've been watching these questions come in, and they're gone. They are completely out of my head right now. So if you could please type in your question again now, then I'll be able to get to that. Okay. And I'm going to start with Rhoda. Hi, Rhoda. It's good to see you. And she has a question about her daughter. Sounds like her daughter is a little bit ahead of the game. Hi, Rhoda. Yes. So she says, "My daughter is ahead in all subjects. She is starting algebra, high school history, English, spelling, etc., even though she's in 8th grade. Can I not count the English, for example, as her early high school credits? Okay, so that is a very good question. And I was in that predicament myself with my own child. I usually suggest that you count just math, science, and foreign language as early high school credits, unless she signed up for a high schoolers only class or doing dual enrollment, or maybe she passed a CLEP in it. When a child is ahead, they will always be ahead. And so she will continue to rack up credits. And so it isn't going to matter if she has additional English or history or whatever. So if you don't feel like you should include it, it's not going to harm her. She still needs to have 4 years while she is high school age. Now, I can tell you what happened to me, Rhoda. Um, I, I have a gifted child, and he was the one who was doing graduate level economics when he was in high school. That was devastatingly difficult for me to figure out. And I remember when he was your daughter's age and looking at all the things he was ahead in and what I was going to do. So ultimately, what we decided for him is that once we figured out when he would graduate, I counted back 4 years, counted all of those, figuring that he was in high school for those 4 years. And then the math, science, and foreign language before that, I counted. And so that's how I did it for me. But that might be one of those things where you and I would enjoy a conversation together. And that's one of the reasons why the total transcript solution is very helpful. I don't want people that don't have gifted children to be freaked out by my conversation with Rhoda. To be honest, it is as challenging to have a gifted student as to have a student who is below grade level in many subjects, because it's outside the norm. It's outside of our experience. It feels like nobody else is doing it, and it feels very overwhelming. And so it's a different side of the same problem. Okay, Angela's question. Hi, Angela. How do you label a side business like selling art or selling cakes, for example? Good question. Well, I usually suggest that you call the class occupational education. Okay, you might want to write that down, everybody, in your workbook. Just write down the words occupational education for a class that is their job. Okay, so we can include anything. My children were each got a job when they were 14 years old, and one day a week they went to their job for 8 hours every week. And so every year that they did that, they would get 1 credit of occupational education. And so that might be the easiest way for you to do that. Okay, Rachel's question. Hi, Rachel. How do I combine my daughter's public school transcript with a homeschool transcript? Okay, so I do talk about that in the class creating transcripts for your unique child that is included in the total transcript solution. So after I answer the question, I just want you to know there's more information on how to solve that problem. First of all, you get the transcript from the high school that she attended. It only matters in high school, not beforehand. And then when you're creating your transcript, you look at the classes that she took on that transcript and you put it exactly on your transcript. When it's an official transcript, you can't change the work that they did. You can only change your own homeschool classes, not those classes on that transcript. Okay. It's easiest if you choose an acronym for the high school. So, for example, my local high school is Highline High School, and I would use the acronym HHS. Whatever class title, you use the exact same class title. Whatever grade they give, you use the exact grade. Whatever credit value they give, you use the exact credit value. One thing is, when we were going through the grading scale options, sometimes it's a little easier if you've already been in public school to use the same grading scale that they did. That way, if your transcript from the public school says B plus or A minus, at least your grading scale matches that one. And it just makes your job a little bit easier. So you do put it all on the transcript, okay? And using an acronym, and that's the easiest way to do that. So let me say thank you to Lisa M for your purchase. Thank you, Catherine Y. Thank you for purchasing the Total Transcript Solution. Thank you, May, for your purchase as well. And Amanda L, can't forget you. Thank you for your purchase. I really appreciate that. Okay, next question is from Christina. Okay, my son entered public high school and they want my son's transcript to prove his credits. How do I do this? Okay, it is remarkably easy to get a homeschooler from homeschooling into college. But if your local high school is accredited, again, not all high schools are, if it is accredited, then you have to go through certain hoops to have your homeschool credits count. And it's usually at the discretion of the principal of the school. So if the principal has some flexibility, often having a transcript will be helpful. Most often, though, Christina, it's much more helpful if you have an entire course description, a whole 1 page per class describing everything that you taught, what you used, how you graded, so that they have more information to go on. One of my friends wanted to do that, wanted the high school to create her homeschool transcript for her. She had an agreement with him that he would do that. She was not concerned at all, but she was very sad at the very end. And here's why. When she had all of her homeschool transcripts put on the public school transcript, he was taking calculus and the transcript said math requirement met. And he was taking physics and got an A, but his high school transcript said science requirement met. And so had she made her homeschool transcript, her student would have looked like a really smart kid who's taking calculus and physics. And instead, it sort of looked like, he scraped by okay. He's met the requirements for math and science. She was super disappointed. So, anyway, there's lots of issues to think through about public school. And I know that different people have different reasons, and you know more about the situation than I do. But again, that might be one opportunity for you and I to have a discussion if you purchase the Total Transcript Solution. One thing I wanted to mention, though, is if you've already made your transcript and you've already made your course descriptions, but you just have questions, you can join the Gold Care Club and you and I can talk for 20 minutes every week. If you have questions or concerns or want to talk things through about your gifted child or your child who's going back to public school or pulling your children out of public or private school, anytime you feel like you'd really like to talk to somebody, that's what the Gold Care Club is all about. Okay, now I'm going to answer Wendy's question. Hi, Wendy. I hope you're ready. Wendy says, can I use the Total Transcript Solution for a child who has already graduated and may need a copy here or there? Because I currently have one I created on my computer. Yes, you can. So the Total Transcript Solution has been used multiple times by parents who accidentally forgot to make their transcript. And now all of a sudden their child is 24, 28 years old and wants to go to college and they need their high school transcript. I will say that gives me the hives to think about, because when you're making a transcript and your student is in high school, it's a little stressful. But I mean, you've got the bookshelf full of stuff. You've got your teenager there to ask questions. It's all in your brain. It's possible you can make it. Imagine 10 years from now making a transcript. You don't have the curriculum. You don't have the records. You don't even have the teenager. You can't remember what you did. It is so stressful to make a transcript years later. It is much, much easier to make a transcript now than when they're older. But the answer is yes, Wendy, you can. The Total Transcript Solution works perfectly for that reason. And the 1 hour transcript workshop will help you talk through prompting your memory. Well, now what'd you do for PE? Prompting your memory to get that done. Okay. Let me say thank you to Sarah S. Sarah, thank you for your purchase. Thank you, Helen T. Thank you. Thank you very much. And Sue B. Thank you for your purchase. I'm glad that you got the total transcript solution, and I hope it's really going to help you out. All right. I'm going to answer Jessica's question now. Okay. My son took Dave Ramsey 3 youth classes online. How many credits do I give? Do I use a semester system, a quarter system, a trimester system? Okay, so good question. It depends on what you used. And so when I'm consulting with people, that I'll usually ask them, well, send me the link so I can look at the class. But what I do when I'm looking at the link is, does he tell you? Right? Because remember, if it's high school level, they'll tell you. And usually with Dave Ramsey, each thing indicates 1 semester or a half a credit. So if you took 3, it would be 3 half credit classes. And that's usually how it goes with the Dave Ramsey. Okay. All righty. Melissa says, howdy, Melissa. Will we need to provide coursework samples as supportive documentation for the transcript? Okay, so I do recommend that you provide course descriptions as outside documentation. And a course description, let me see, this is my son Kevin's record here. Let me show you what one might look like. This is Modern World History, and it might have a paragraph about what you did, a list of what you used. Probably these are papers that he wrote, supplemental texts, and some sort of a description of how you graded. And that's what a course description looks like. It's pretty unusual that college will ask you for actual samples of coursework. I have seen it done. I had a college ask us for a graded English paper. And so I printed out a paper that my child had written on the computer, and I put an A on it, and I submitted that, and that was good. Another college asked us for a science lab. So I went through my workbook. I had kept all of them so that I could write course descriptions, right? So I'd kept all these labs. I picked out the one that I thought looked the best, the most mature, the one that didn't compare their science experiment to his nose size. I don't know why Alex always does that, compares things to his nose size. Anyway, and then we would submit the best looking science lab. The other thing I was asked for was math in the student's handwriting, which I had kept because I did keep tests for math. And so I always had those printed and in my folder. And so I submitted one of their A tests, something they got 100 or 99% on. And that's what I would submit. If you didn't have those things that you had kept, first of all, I think it is easier to keep the information, because then when you write course descriptions, you have all that in front of you, and everything that you've kept is a way that you have evaluated your child. So it kind of helps you think through, how did I grade, without tests. But the other thing is, you'll still be able to provide something if you're currently homeschooling. So if they say we need a graded English paper, you wait until your child finishes their paper that week and you submit that. Or for math, they, give them a math test and then submit that. And so that would be the easy way to do that. Okay. Alrighty. Hi, Bianca. Good to see you. Bianca's question is, 1 semester of dual enrollment equivalent to a whole year of high school credit? Ready? I'm going to blow your mind. Yes. Yes. All right. Let me, in fact, why don't you write this on your workbook? With the notes section, the tips from the question and answer time down here, write this down. Okay. 1 whole college class equals 1 whole year of high school. Let me break it down for you. If your child has taken a college class that is 3 credits, 4 credits, 5 credits, 6 credits, that's going to be one whole year of high school. Sometimes with an itty bitty college class, and it's maybe 1 or 2 credits is all a PE class, an art class. Sometimes you could decide that that's just going to be a half a high school credit, and that's perfectly fine. But generally speaking, a whole college class is equal to a whole high school credit. Hey, let me say thank you to Christine. Thank you, Christine S., for your purchase. Thank you, Summer W. Summer, I really appreciate it. Thank you. And Phyllis W., thank you for your purchase as well. I hope that's really going to meet your needs and that you get it all figured out really quickly. All right. Beth, it's your turn. Hi, Beth. Can I add the comprehensive record solution onto the purchase of the transcript, or is there a better package that combines the two? Yes. So let me go back here. Ta-da. Okay. When you're on the billing for the total transcript solution down here, that's where you can add the comprehensive record solution. Okay. And that will bundle them together. All right. I'll show you what it looks like there on the screen. All right, Katie. Hi, Katie. Katie says her daughter has some significant dyslexia, dysgraphia, dyscalculia, but she's a very smart kid. She wants to become a lactation consultant. How cool is that? Do I just need to keep her in school longer so that we can thoroughly work all she needs to work at her own pace? Okay, so you were the person I was talking to earlier when I said, don't freak out by this conversation. It's two sides of the same problem. And I totally get that. Second of all, I just want to encourage you because when I was homeschooling, my very best friend had 3 children. All 3 of her children had very significant issues across the board. One of them could not spell 3-letter words when he was 18 years old. Another one of them barely got through pre-algebra before graduation at age 18. All of a sudden decided he wanted to be an engineer. Oh my word. And so he went to community college after high school graduation, got his math up, and successfully is an engineer and literally works for Microsoft right now doing things that he always wanted to do, developing games and toys, etc., as an engineer, right? So I just wanted to encourage you that homeschooling high school is still a successful way to educate your children. And thankfully, too, because she does not have to experience the constant negative feedback and difficulty, self-esteem issues because of coming face to face with her weaknesses all the time. And you can teach her in a way that makes sense. So I guess in a nutshell, my encouragement is to continue to work on the English areas, the math areas for as long as you can. At a certain point in high school, usually around 11th grade, you start to pivot. Instead of teaching how to spell, teach how to adapt for an inability to spell. So you use spell check on the computer, you use a calculator, you use voice to text to help get the words at least close enough to accurate spelling so that she can work on her own later. Adults in the real world have these kinds of learning disabilities all the time, and they've all learned how to adapt. So once you have been working the teaching aspect as long as you can, that's when you pivot and try to adapt. I do have an article on college for struggling learners that is going to be helpful for you. But I just want to encourage you that you're doing a fantastic job. Okay. All right. Summer's question. Oh, my goodness. All right. My husband is telling me there's still 24 people online asking questions. I'm doing my best, guys. I promise to try to answer all of your questions today. So hang on with me. Okay. Summer says, would the total transcript solution help me figure out how to blend high school grades with homeschool grades? And the answer to that is absolutely yes, it will. It will be perfect for you. Melinda said, would you count apology as physical science taken in 8th grade as a high school credit? And I would not do that. And the reason for that is it was originally intended as a middle school curriculum. So I would not count that as high school credit when taken early. If, however, your student is high school age, again, everything counts when they're high school age, and then I would count it. I know it seems a little arbitrary. Each person gets to make their own decisions. And I know that you know more information. There is one state in the world, can't remember which one, that requires all homeschoolers even to teach physical science in high school. If that was you, you might make the decision, I'm going to put it on the transcript because it's required by my state. You can do that. Rebecca says, can you tell me again about the college launch solution? Yes, and that's why I put this on the screen for you, Rebecca. The college launch solution is a very large product to help you through everything about college bound kids. How do you plan the years? How do you get scholarships? It's huge. But if you have a college bound student, the applying for college module is one piece of the college lunch solution. I think the college lunch solution has 64 hours of training. This is only 8 hours of training, which is why it's not as overwhelming to some people. So you can add that to your purchase. If you don't want to buy it separately, you can add just this one module to your purchase, and it will help you to plan senior year. It will give you some additional record keeping guidance. It will help you to interpret college admission requirements and then fulfill them. It will help you to complete college application essays, track the application process, compare colleges so that you're making a good choice. Again, that will help your child graduate debt free. Like many parents, I'm committed to helping your children graduate debt free. Okay, Angela says, what is the average coursework? What average coursework earns all A's, but the SAT or ACT looks low? I'm not sure about the SAT or ACT, so I opted out and went to community college. Okay, well, so yeah, that's the answer. If your child does not have a learning disability, cannot get accommodation, but just has lower test scores, but all A's on the grades, then sometimes your outside documentation will be community college, and just taking community college classes, getting an A in those classes will show that, of course, you got an A in high school. You're getting an A in college, and college is harder. So that's great outside documentation. I will say one thing, though, that sometimes kids get pretty far advanced in math. And when they do get into more advanced maths, trigonometry, algebra 2, calculus, they forget the earlier concepts, and sometimes they can have a very low or average score on the SAT or ACT math because it's old in their head. They can't remember how to do it quickly. Okay, so Janet says there is such a thing as a half a credit, but is there such a thing as a quarter credit? I do not recommend a quarter credit classes. You either add it to some other class or leave it off or put it as just an activity. It just makes your transcript so long and bulky and difficult. All righty, so I'm looking for more questions. Selma, hi Selma. Would I put on the transcript if my daughter has taken up cooking for the family at home with restrictions, dietary restrictions for an elder? Great question. Yes, and a great class title for that would be occupational education or culinary art. Culinary art. That is a fantastic idea. You don't need curriculum to teach many things that we do in homeschooling. You can actually do the thing to count it for credit, and that's what I would do. If she's cooking, you just estimate how many meals does she make per week. Each meal takes about how many hours, and then you multiply that to see how many hours per week she has spent. Okay. Melinda's question, do you have a transcript by subject in the total transcript solution? Yes, we have transcript by subject, transcript by year, some that calculate GPA, the ones that gets the best scholarships. We have the NCAA template. We have different colors. I have add-ons too. You can add on this signature line. You can add on this watermark that you could put on the document as well. I do find that the simplest is the best, though. And I think that's why the first transcript template that you see in the lineup, the Home Scholar transcript template, I think that's why it gets the best scholarships because it's simplest. It's the easiest for homeschoolers to modify. Okay, let's see. Rupa's question. Hello there. Is a transcript just one page, and how do you put in summer courses, and where do you put course descriptions? Okay. Your question about course descriptions will be answered in the comprehensive record solution. So I do hope that you added that to your purchase, and that will help you with all of your course descriptions. Now, this is important. I need everybody to look at the camera for a second, okay? Because here's the thing. When people say a one-page transcript, what that means is one page front to back. One page front to back, okay? Now, there are many kids, half of all homeschoolers can fit their transcript into the front part of their transcript. That's great. For other kids, it's going to go front page and a half or more of the back page, especially if you're taking summer courses. You have a lot of half page, half credit classes. It can just go into 2 pages. So here's what you do in your head. It's like, oh no, I've gone over one page. It's on the back. Okay, you say to yourself, oh darn, my child is too smart to put on the front page. Oh darn, my child is so smart, we have to add to the back page. I don't want you to panic or anything. Okay, it's not a big deal. You're golden. All right, so looking at questions. Phyllis's question. Hi, Phyllis W. My daughter seems to be waffling on whether she wants to go to college at all. Amen. I hear that all the time, which is why I'm always encouraging flexibility, being prepared for anything. Anyway, but when she says she wants to go to college, then she's thinking about art school. Will the transcript meet what would be required for different kinds of colleges? And the answer is yes, it will, because no matter what the experience she's going to, art school, on the job, a regular university, all of those kids are coming from public and private and homeschools, right? All of those kids get one transcript that they have to send to those experiences. So, yes, a regular transcript is going to work at an art school. In fact, I find that art schools are a little, it's going to be weird, they're a little pickier that you did the academics of high school because they don't have academics in the art school, right? So they want to make sure you covered English and math and science and social studies because they don't do that there, right? So you do want to be prepared for that. If you are applying for an art school, they will also want to see a portfolio of the work that you have created. The portfolio is up to the student to create a summary of all of the art that they have produced, their best pieces into one portfolio. And I encourage you to create an academic portfolio, which is, again, creating course descriptions for your child because that will help them in the long run. Generally speaking, art schools do not give big scholarships. Generally speaking, a university that has an art degree will give better scholarships. So I'd want you, if she wanted to go into art, I would encourage you to apply to both kinds of colleges because then you'll get better scholarships. All right, let me say thank you to Katie C. Thank you, Katie, for your purchase. Thank you, Melinda W. Thanks, Melinda. I hope it's a perfect fit for you. And Rupa, hi Rupa, it's been fun chatting with you today, and I hope that you enjoy your purchase as well. Okay, so how are we doing on time? Okay, we're good. We are golden. Okay, I'm gonna keep answering questions. I am not gonna give up. Okay, Wendy says, thank you. I'm just terrified to lose my current transcripts, and yours is lifetime access. Yes. And that is a big concern with some of the other options out there. And I'll tell you why my total transcript solution is different, dare I say better. It's because you're downloading a template, you take the information I give you, you type it in, and then you save it forever. Okay. How do you save documents forever? It's pretty easy. First of all, you save it on your computer with the name of your child and the word transcript. It will be easy to find, right? Kevin Binns transcript. I could find that on my computer. Second thing you do is you make sure you have some sort of a backup system for your computer. We use Carbonite in our business, so it's uploaded to the cloud. Other people will have a hard drive. Cheater's way, easy way to save your transcript forever is to email it to yourself and email it to your significant other, email it to your child. Then they will all have a copy in their email system that they can access later on. And then another way to keep your transcript forever is to print it out and put it in your safe or safe deposit box so that it will always be there for you. But yes, I agree. Any system that says if you don't keep paying, you're going to lose the transcript, that is a bad system because when your child is 40 years old, let's say your child is 50 years old, homeschooled their own children all the way through high school, and then they decide, I'm going to go back to college. I'm going to be a teacher. I'm going to reform this public school system. I'm going to be the best teacher ever. And they want to go to college, they're going to need your high school transcript, right? At 50 years old. So you really want to make sure that you are keeping the uh, transcript for your child forever. All right. Janet says, if in high school was all about homeschooling, is the primary and middle school experience relevant to the transcript? Not really. When a child goes to a public or private high school, the only thing that high school knows is what happens in high school. Everything else is gone, right? So the same thing is true for us. If it's high school level or the student was high school age, it all matters. It all counts, whether you're above grade level or below grade level, high school age, it all counts. But everything before that does not count. Sometimes that's not a big deal. Sometimes it really is heartbreaking to mom, right? Like if your child has won the geography bee, the spelling bee that are done in 8th grade, huge deal, national recognition, not part of high school. So that can be pretty devastating. So beforehand, Little League World Series does not go on the high school transcript. You can use that information on the college application essay. It's not part of your student. It's just not part of homeschool records. Okay. Kat. Hello, Kat. Good to see you. Do you call PE PE? My daughter did horseback riding. She did marching band. Our local public school counts marching band for PE. I'd like to call it something different than just PE. Absolutely, you can call it something different. I like to think of that in terms of first name, second name. Okay, so in the category called physical education, you have a class title that is PE horsemanship or PE marching band. I don't think it's going to benefit you to have 2 credits of PE per year. But you might decide half the year is marching band, half the year is horseback riding, the rest of the year it's snowing, so we don't do it then. So you could do that. If it's on the public school transcript, you have to do it exactly the way that they said, right? So if you have taken this class at a public school and they give you a transcript that has one thing on it, PE, marching band, you have to do it exactly the way that they say, okay? Now, sometimes you're doing a blending of things that are all PE related. So sometimes the second name might be personal fitness. Okay. And if your course description for personal fitness has 1 unit for horseback riding and 1 unit for marching band, you could include other things in your course description as well. We did this unit study on health, we did this unit study on nutrition, and just add whatever you did naturally that was part of your PE class. Okay. All right, Jade. Hi, Jade. How do we record passing a CLEP on the transcript? Okay, the thing with CLEP is that you cannot give credit for studying for the CLEP and also give credit for passing the CLEP. Okay, that would be double dipping. So you don't give 2 credits for it. But when they're studying for this CLEP test, and they're doing quite a good job. There's a lot of studying involved in it. By the time they've taken and passed the CLEP, you know something. Okay. You know that they've actually passed a college amount of information with exactly this class title. So the CLEP test that they pass is the exact most specific class title that you can use. So the name of the CLEP becomes the name of the class where they learned all of that information. Phyllis says, hello, Phyllis. How do we record a super senior year on a transcript? Do colleges look down on a 5th-year student? They actually don't look down on a 5th-year student. They like to see kids coming to college a little bit more mature so that they're less likely to drink and get into trouble, quite frankly. But as far as a super senior, I think it's a lot easier if you just put your transcript by subject instead of by year. So instead of saying 9th grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, 12th grade again, your transcript is arranged like English, math, social studies, science, like that. Okay. Hello, Aset. It's good to see you. Let me answer your question. My middle schooler is in 7th grade. She's preparing to take a professional IT exam. Woo! Okay, how might I enter that on the transcript? It's advanced placement credit. Oh, my word. Okay, let me get to that. So obviously, 7th grader working professional IT exam, AP credits, etc. You can see every single thing there is high school level, even though your child is in 7th grade. It all goes on the transcript. The professional IT exam is an adult exam. It's going on the transcript. And AP credit is basically college level. You obviously put that on the transcript. So it's sort of like CLEP in that the name of the test that is passed is the name of the class on your homeschool transcript. You just don't give credit for taking the test and studying, but you call the studying by the name of the class. Okay. Let me say thank you to Micah S. Thank you for your purchase. And thank you also to Kimberly G. Thank you, Kimberly. Listen, I know a lot of people are still on the order form and they're like going back and forth. And what do I need to tell my husband? And is this okay? And if you have any questions, any reasons why you're hesitating about the total transcript solution, I would very much like to answer that for you. Okay. So if you are hesitating for any reason, if you could just chime in on chat and say, what is the problem? Then I will be happy to answer that for you so that you don't have to hesitate anymore. You'll be confident in your decision one way or the other. Okay. Next question, Risa, do you have resources for kids who do poorly on standardized tests? Yes, I do. The information for that, I wonder if I can find that slide really quickly, is in the testing pack here, testing pack. And yeah, that one doesn't have testing. So it's in the high school testing pack. I teach about how to get the very best score on the high school tests. And I also have information on earning accommodation on those tests as well. Okay. All righty. Oh, I'm so lost. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to answer one more question, but then I need to confess to you that I've now lost my place among these questions. And there are 111 messages for me to sort through. So I can't find any other questions. So here's what I need you to do. If you still have a question, I'm going to answer Jessica Adams right now. But if you still have a question and I haven't answered it right now, if you could just type it in one more time and just use the word urgent by it, then I'll be sure to get to your question next. Okay. Let me go back here. There we go. All right. Jessica, you ready for your answer? Okay. What kind of course name or description would you give to YouTube channel video creation? My daughter's animate videos and create stories with captions. That is the coolest thing I have seen. A couple of Gold Care members have done that and called it stop action photography, videography, video creation, animated video creation, that sort of thing. What I usually suggest is that you look at the college where your child might want to go that offers classes in video creation. See what class title they use. One of the big tips to getting fantastic scholarships is to use class titles on your transcript that are the most similar to your first choice college. I'm not going to say I did that. I'm just going to say I did that and my children got full tuition scholarships, right? So your first choice college, that way, if they use the words American history instead of US history, it doesn't matter which class title you choose. You might as well choose the one that they use so that you sound friendly and similar and they understand everything about you. Okay. All right. So I'm going all the way down. We just got 8 new messages. So I'm very hopeful that people will be asking these urgent questions. Let's see. How long do we have to purchase at this price? Okay, good question. The total transcript solution is always $47. It does not, there it is, always $47. It does not have a coupon code. So the difference is when you order today, you will get additional bonuses. So that's the big difference, is the bonuses that we're adding to it. Okay, Julie. Hi, Julie has an urgent question. Okay, this is good. This is an excellent question. Everybody's going to want to hear the answer to this. How do I know when to give credit for an activity? My child is teaching Sunday school every week. Another child is part of the Police Explorers program every week. Can I give credit for them, or do they just go as activities? There's so much time, and I would love to be able to show it on their transcript. Good question. So for both of these, they're probably going to be credit on the transcript and be listed as an activity. In the activities section, you're going to say the Police Explorer program at Highline Police Explorer program. They did it for grades 9, 10, 11, 12, and they were, I don't know, the captain in grade 12. And that's what it looks like when you're putting it on the activity list. When you add it to the transcript as credit, then you decide, okay, what academic skill were we learning? And you call it the academic skill. With things like the Police Explorer program or Civil Air Patrol or Eagle Scout, usually what they're learning is leadership studies. And so often the class title is going to be leadership studies. Sometimes they're just quite certain about that's going to be their job when they get out of school. You might want to call it occupational education as your class title. So here's the thing about activities and classes. It's not double dipping to have both of those on the transcript. When I was in public high school, I took choir every year. Every year it said choir, 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 choir. It never even said choir 9, choir 10, choir 11, choir 1, 2, 3. It didn't say that. It just said choir. 4 years in a row, I got an A all 4 years, and I never took a fill in the bubble test ever. Sadly, I also can't read music, so I'm not super happy about that. But I did get all A's in high school choir. I got 1 credit per year. On my activity list, again, public high school, it said member of the Bellevue High School Concert Choir. So you can see it's not double dipping, but they're written in different ways. Okay. So I hope that explains that pretty well. Rupa's question, urgent. How many PE credits do you need in high school? Good question. Very few states require PE credits. Very few colleges require PE credits, but when they do, they often will require at least 2. So you're trying to get your child to have at least 2 PE credits. But if they have more, that's fine. If you have an athlete and you have 4 credits of PE, that is totally fine. PE can include anything that makes your child healthy. Naturally playing outside, swimming in the summer, playing basketball, playing outside, physical activity of any kind, going to the gym of any kind, but also anything that makes them more fit, right? Nutrition classes, nutritional information about supplements, health, relationships, drug use, any of those topics that you talk about with your kids, all of that counts for PE. Let's see. Lois says if you're getting both packages, the comprehensive record solution and the total transcript solution, is there a coupon code? And the answer is, I'm trying to find that. No, because we're adding it. Here it is. When you add it on here, it's already got the discount. See, it's $67. So it's already got the discount when you're adding it to your order. So you don't need to get a coupon code. Okay. Selma says, can we buy the bonuses? Yes, the bonus classes are available for purchase individually. You can go to the website, homeschool through high school. I think I've got it on the slide here. No, you can't read it. Oh, well. On the website, homeschool through high school, or you can go to my store and look at what's it called? Parent training classes. And each of those parent training classes is for purchase individually. They're $15 each. All right, Jessica's question. Let me go back to where I was. I'm getting lost now. I've got so many slides. Jessica's question, are the transcript templates like you put in for credit and calculates the total for you? Does the program work that way? I find it much easier to calculate your transcript GPA yourself, but we do have transcript templates that calculate that. I have a full 1-hour class on how to calculate the GPA that will put you completely at ease. If you, there's also Excel spreadsheet that will calculate it for you. So you'll have all the information that you need on calculating GPA. Sometimes when people ask for their consultation, that's what they're concerned about. And if you send me your transcript as either Word or Excel, I can calculate the GPA for you to make sure that it's accurate. I will say that it takes all of my concentration to calculate a GPA. So when we do that, I'm going to be silent on the phone for a few minutes. Okay. So, all righty. Let's see, looking for questions. Are the other online resources, comprehensive record solution, college launch solutions, are they all $67 only today? No, the two things that you're adding are added on for $67. We can provide coupon codes for buying them separately if you already have the total transcript solution. But if you're buying the total transcript solution, you add those to your purchase for 67. And that is on an offer that will be available to you even after today. Okay. Okay. Looking for questions. Okay. Maricela, hello, Maricela. She said, oops, I'm going to answer your question in just 1 second. I have to say thank you. I have to say thank you to Beth P. Thank you for your purchase. And Heather W., thank you for your purchase as well. I hope it's a really good fit for you. And now, Maricela, I am ready for you. She says, I know this question has already been answered, but I was MIA during your response. Does your template have a way to merge high school, public high school, and homeschool credits? Yes, it does. And that is very important for you to do. And here's why. Your transcript is a summary, a clearinghouse of all the educational experiences that your child had in high school. Okay. That means public school classes, private school classes, summer school, everything that you did that you call school goes on that transcript. And that is why it's important to include your public high school, private high school onto your transcript. In my class that is included in the total transcript solution, there is a class called Creating Transcripts for Your Unique Child. Occasionally, there will be a child who failed some classes at public school. And how do you handle that? So I talk through that in my class, Creating Transcripts for Your Unique Child. And that will be extremely helpful for you if that is your situation. And other times, people are trying to talk to me about it when they get their consultation. Becky says, how do I purchase when I'm on my phone? My understanding is that you have to close the chat, hide the chat, and then the offer will pop up and then you should be able to order from your phone. If for any reason you're confused, you just go to the website, totaltranscriptsolution.com, and you'll be able to purchase from there. It's a shorter website to say than my full website. But also if you go on to my website, anywhere on there where it says store, then you'll be able to make the purchase that way. If you're here in this class now, Becky, and you make the purchase maybe 5 minutes after we're done with class, then just send us an email and say, can I still get the bonuses? I was in class. I was there till the very end, and we'll make sure that you get them. Okay. Rupa says, is this recorded? Can I get the question and answer part? We're going to try to send you a recording. Lord willing, we will send you a recording, but I can't promise you there is going to be a recording because I can't control the internet. Okay. All right. Well, we are all done. Let's see. Krista says, I'm confused as to what's included and what I need. Okay, let me explain one more time for Krista. Okay. If all that you need is a transcript, every homeschooler needs a transcript. Okay, flat out. Every homeschooler needs a transcript because you don't know what's going to happen in life. Then you'll get the total transcript solution. If you have a college-bound student, I want you to look at the additional record keeping section down here, the comprehensive record solution, and I would encourage you to add that to your purchase if you have a college-bound student. It's regularly $147. This will help you with every other piece of paper that you might be asked for. Course descriptions, letter of recommendation, activity list, reading list, school profile, letter of recommendation, etc. So you can add that to your purchase. Instead of 147, it's added for 67. If you have a college-bound student, I encourage you to think about adding the college launch solution. After you have completed your purchase, you will be allowed to add the college launch solution for $67, and it will help you with the college application portion. So again, it's best for college bound students. Okay. Alrighty. Now, one thing I wanted to point out, Lois said, is there other packages? And the answer is yes. On your handout, page 6, right at the bottom there, it lists all of my products. So you can take a look at the other things that I offer, and check out what is the difference on each one. And that will help you make a decision. I also have staff members that are available on chat. And you can email us if it's after hours because you're listening on a recording. Okay, so I want to say thank you to everybody for coming today. What a joy to be with you. Isn't it fun to get together with homeschoolers who are so understanding and warm and loving towards each other? I want you to notice that we're all in this together. Whether I'm going to cry now, whether we have gifted children or struggling learners or kids that are super active or not active at all, we are all in this together. We don't judge one another. We are kind to one another. I trust you to homeschool in a way that is best for your children. I know each person here genuinely loves their children. And quite frankly, that's what guarantees their success. It's not about what curriculum you use or what online class you use. It's, do you love your child? And that is how you become successful. All right. So my husband has just told me that we still have 37 people on the order form. And I've been trying to answer questions and help these people out as much as possible. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to extend the bonuses until midnight. Okay. So as long as you place your order by midnight tonight, the bonuses, all the additional bonuses will be available to you. Okay. All of these things are going to be available to you when you have placed your order by midnight tonight. Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining me today. It's been a joy to be with you. Have a great day and stay strong. Man, it is hard to be so involved in parenting at such a challenging time in the world as right now. I look at the news sometimes and I think, I don't even know what I would tell my children about that. It's such a big thing. So you guys are doing great work educating your children at home, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. All right. Thank you, Rebecca and Kim and Risa and Summer and Krista and all of the others. Thank you so much for joining me today. Have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye-bye.